Hi, welcome new careers leaders. It's great to meet you. We thought we'd put together a nice short introduction to the role to give you a bit more extra support and hope you find this useful. We'll upload this to Hop so that you can gain access to it and refer back to it whenever's useful to you. My name's Steve Trotter. I'm Careers Hub Operations Lead here in Hertfordshire, and I'm also Enterprise Coordinator for Welling and Hatfield. And I'm just going to walk you through the Careers Leader role and a little bit more about the Careers and Enterprise company. Along the way, I'll also talk to you a bit about the Gatsby Benchmarks and sort of point you in the right direction of useful resources. So here at the Careers and Enterprise Company, under Hertfordshire LEP and in partnership with Services for Young People, our mission is to inspire and support young people into the fast-changing world of work. We want to strengthen the links between education and employment and raise the profile of good careers guidance and good careers education by backing the 8 Gatsby benchmarks. Along the way, raising aspirations among young people and also helping every young person find their next best step. We do that by building networks, by supporting yourself, the careers leader, introducing you to an enterprise advisor or an employer, and working together and collaborating to back the Gatsby benchmarks and look at what the school's doing well or college is doing well and areas for development, and then looking to the enterprise advisor to help you support with that. We're really fortunate here in Hertfordshire that we've been working on the Careers and Enterprise work since 2015. But then we've also been able to expand out to have a careers hub. So nationally, there's an aim to get everyone into careers hubs between 2023 and 2024. And luckily for us, in September 2021, we were able to get a whole Hertfordshire careers hub coverage. And we initially started in 2019 with Stevenage, North Herts, Welling and Hatfield schools, expanded out to Watford and Three Rivers in 2020 and Hertsmere. And then as of 2021 in September, we've now got St Albans and Dacorum and Broxbourne and East Herts. So we have that whole county and all school and college approach to this careers hub, which means we can share best practice amongst all, and we can run things like CPD workshops and networking sessions together with big cornerstone employers backing those as well. Gatsby Benchmarks came about after some research by Professor Sir John Holman in 2024, a former Watford head teacher. He went around the world and found all the best parts of careers guidance, put them together in this melting pot called the Gatsby Benchmarks. So in 2015, the Careers and Enterprise Company started doing that work. And what we do is we support each school around their careers programs by introducing them to an enterprise advisor and employer. If you are very new to this role and you want to do some extra reading, I recommend looking at the Statutory Guidance, which will talk about everything your school should or must do, and the Skills for Jobs white paper, and there's links to those later in the presentation. This work aims to help every young person find their next best step by introducing employers to you, those employers engaging with purpose and impact, and trying to make sure that all young people are included in careers education here in Hertfordshire, but also in England. Because we've been doing this work for 6 or 7 years now, it's now converting in from just focusing on the Gatsby benchmarks to these 7 different coordinated actions. So from us, you will start to see and hear a lot more information around amplifying technical and vocational routes, which includes apprenticeships and also includes T-levels, as well as a self-improving system, those Gatsby benchmarks being really important. We will look at effective transitions, so helping students as they transition out of year 11 and year 13 to their best next step. And we've got a pilot running in Welling, Hatfield, North Herts and Stevenage for 150 free school meal students in year 10 as they progress through year 10, 11 and into year 12. We're doing some research at the moment around removing barriers. So we're really interested to hear from you as careers leaders what your students find as their biggest barriers, if that's mental health, anxiety, depression, or other main things that are barriers in getting them into their next best step, either in education or employment. Because you've come on board as a careers leader, we're really, really happy to back careers leadership in England. And to help with that, we've got a level 6 careers leadership qualification that's worth between £2,000 and £3,000, which you as a careers leader can do for free. And at the end, your school or college gets a £1,000 bursary. And I'll go through some information about that near the end of the presentation today, if you're interested. And the whole thing pulled together helps careers education become front and centre and help with economic recovery and build those long-term, sustainable, mutually beneficial partnerships between schools, colleges and employers. I'm just going to show you a short video from our new Chief Executive, Ollie de Botton, who will spell out what I've talked about there in a little bit more detail.
Hello, my name is Ollie de Botton and I'm the Chief Executive of the Careers and Enterprise Company. I just wanted to share with you some information about our mission, our vision and our priorities. We have been governed by the careers strategy, the government's careers strategy that has just come to an end. And in a way it's been replaced by the FE and Skills bill, which is going through Parliament at the moment, which seeks to put skills at the heart of the education system. We're also governed by the statutory guidance around careers, and we feel very privileged to be part of the system going forward. So that governs our work, but within that we've got a mission, we've got a vision, and we've got some priorities. So our mission, which I hope we share with you, is to help every young person find their best next step. And we know that the best next step is not the same for every young person, which is why it's absolutely fantastic that we've got FE, independent training providers and apprenticeship providers as part of our network, so we can give young people access to all the options. We know that some young people face difficulties finding their best next step, and that careers education has a role to play in removing barriers where we find them. We also know that what we experience influences where we go, which is why we place such an emphasis on employers getting involved in careers education, helping young people, inspiring young people about what's to come, including the routes in. So these assumptions lead us to a vision. We want modern, high quality, 21st century careers education for everyone, everywhere. And how are we going to do that? We want to support schools and colleges as much as possible to deliver brilliant careers education. We want to support employers to engage in education with purpose and for the long term. And we want to include every young person in careers education, regardless of their starting point or circumstance. So what are our priorities for this year? Well, there are three. The first one is we want as much impact as possible in the system. And what does that mean? That means amplifying those high quality technical and vocational routes, including apprenticeships. It means listening to the voice of young people to make sure the inputs that we're putting in have the right impact on them. And it means using some of our digital tools, particularly Compass Plus, that will allow us to track what intervention is having what impact. Our second priority is making sure we include all young people in careers education, working to remove barriers. What does that mean? It means connecting employers to education and education institutions that need them most. It means having a focus on those key transition points where we know that sometimes talent can be lost. And our third priority is making sure the system is set up for the long term. And that means one thing: focus on leadership. So we'll continue to train those careers leaders with tools and techniques to support their careers programs, and we'll continue to seek to raise their profile and status in the profession. We'll provide additional support for governors, head teachers, college principals to support the system. But we'll also make sure that discussions about economic growth are also discussions about careers education, putting careers education front and centre of the economic debate. So in short, we want to have a high impact system, we want to include every young person, and we want to focus on leadership. Maybe that is simple, but we think that's the right approach for this academic year as we seek to welcome young people back to schools and I guess in the normal way. So that's what we're about. So please get in touch if you're interested in working with us and helping us help every young person find their best next step.
So that's brilliant to hear from Ollie. Hopefully you found that useful. And we'll also be looking at a few more a little bit later on. Sorry about that, guys. So hopefully we'll be listening to a few more videos a little bit later on in the session. And it was great to hear from Ollie there about what our priorities are moving forward. So the other reasons behind what's so important, what we do and why it's so critical is there's loads of evidence out there to showcase that when employers get involved with students at school and give them that insight into the workplace, help them build those networks, they're 86% less likely to become not in education, employment and training, and they're likely to earn 18% more over the course of their career. And they can also, unfortunately, this is only happening in less than half of schools at the moment. So what we're trying to do is make sure that employers are reaching out and helping schools and colleges so that we can get encounters happening in year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So you've got this dripping tap of students and employers working together. So that builds their self-esteem, their self-confidence, their availability, their ability to network and really make the most of meeting and working with employers. So they feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more informed about the different options and choices. So when they do enter into the workplace, that transition is smaller and shortens the gap that they currently have. So here in Hertfordshire, there's a team of us that welcoming you and helping you. So you've got an enterprise coordinator that you'll work directly with. And then we'll introduce you to an enterprise advisor or an employer, and that collaborative approach will help you look through your careers program and add value. So we're headed up by Gareth Dace, the strategic hub lead. I'm Steve Trotter, the Careers Hub operations lead. So I have an overview of the whole county, but then I'm also supporting the schools in Welling and Hatfield. Chris works with the Broxbourne and East Herts schools, Debbie with Stevenage, North Herts, Shay with Watford, Three Rivers and Hertsmere, and Leslie with St Albans and Dacorum. And then we're really lucky to have Jackie Gascoigne helping all of the special schools here in Hertfordshire. And then we report in to Norman Jennings, the operations director at Hertfordshire LEP. So as you have an enterprise advisor already, or as we introduce you to one, you'll get to know them. They're a business professional dedicated to helping the local community and give something back. They've probably got some business acumen that they can share with you and networks where they can help plug into things that you need on your careers program. There'll also be that willing extra pair of hands to help and support you with the careers program and give you insight into the local labour market as well. So what does it mean to have an enterprise advisor? So they'll champion careers. They'll help build that relationship with you and the senior leadership team and possibly the careers governor. They'll connect you with the business world, give you strategic input, be that business expert, help evaluate the Gatsby benchmarks for each term when you guys work on the Compass report, and be that critical friend. Once that relationship's been built, they'll ask you questions like, do you think you're doing enough around apprenticeships maybe for teachers and for parents? Or do you think there's a few students dropping out of the sixth form? Is there a way we could support them a little bit better? And they're there to do a little bit of delivery. That's not the main part of their role, but they may be happy to help along the way with things like talks, mock assessment centres, mock interviews, depending on how your relationship develops. So you might be new to role now as a careers leader, and it's trying to give you a bit of an outline. It's a big role, but it's very rewarding and very exciting. Set up in the right way, you can have a real impact in the school, and particularly with that collaborative approach with your enterprise advisor, the business volunteer, and your enterprise coordinator from us, the LEP. So you're responsible and accountable for the whole school or college's delivery. That could include partnering with other external organisations, such as a careers guidance company or a work experience company, and bringing in other people to talk, say apprenticeship providers, etc., as well as overlooking the careers programme, work experience, and developing yourself and your school staff. That kind of breaks down into 4 areas really: leadership, management, coordination, and networking. And we have a short online course that you can do on this, which is 5 2-hour modules, or you can sign up to the full careers leadership course of interest, which I'll talk about later in today's programme. The leading side is leading the teachers, the administrators, the programme partners, the people that deliver things such as the careers advice and also the work experience. You're linking with senior leaders and governors. You'll have an overview of what's happening on the PSHE programme and careers in the curriculum. as well as getting partnerships going with things like further education colleges and apprenticeship providers. You could be planning work schemes, looking at careers in the curriculum, and setting up CPD for the school or for the teachers, and overviewing the careers budget overall. The coordination side could mean collaborating, so meeting up with our enterprise coordinators and EAs, but also meeting with your PSHE leaders, your SENCOs, your head of sixth form, etc. And then having some check-ins with your school's careers advisor as well. This part of the role can also overspill into what we do with you, the networking side, so building those relationships with the colleges, the universities and the employers, and your EA can help you with that, as well as your EC. You can also see how some of the other roles in school can support you, with tutors doing things in tutor time and pastoral support, teachers bringing careers into the curriculum, and then the senior leaders being on board with the careers programme and helping drive it forward. This is kind of a best practice model of how careers roles can work in school, and it'd be interesting to see if your school does this, or if you need some help and support to implement this. Find out if you've got a linked careers governor, maybe invite them to a couple of the careers meetings each year. Report in termly or half-termly to your leadership team so they know what's happening with careers and get their buy-in. You do the day-to-day work, and then link in with people like the careers advisor doing the face-to-face guidance, and see if you can get some careers administration time, someone on the admin team to help you drive forward things like work experience, careers newsletters, etc., etc. If you are new to this role, some great starting points, and if you click on these in the attached PowerPoint slides, you've got the Careers Leader Handbook that you can buy, the second-hand availability on Amazon and eBay, or directly from David Andrews and Tristram Hooley, who've done a Careers Leader Handbook. And then free to download from the Careers and Enterprise Company's website, you've got Understanding the Careers Leader Role in School or in College. And if you hover over these, it will take you straight to those resources. Might be worth now just pausing for a moment, grabbing yourself a cuppa, having a quick break, come back relaxed and refreshed, and we'll move into talking about the Gatsby benchmarks. Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed your break. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Gatsby benchmarks, and then we'll move on to watching a short video about those, and then I'll go on to some resources that are going to help you in your new role as a careers leader. So the Gatsby benchmarks, as we said earlier, are developed by Professor Sir John Holman, former head of Watford Boys here in Hertfordshire, and they're the good for careers guidance kind of approach, a melting pot from all around the world, brought together in these 8 benchmarks, and give us a real nice structure to work towards. So your school will get measured between 0 and 100% on each of these 8 benchmarks, and we'll do that in a Compass report every term with you. And we'll go through each of these 8 benchmarks and see where the school is between 0 and 100%, and then collaboratively with your enterprise advisor and enterprise coordinator, give you a kind of an action plan to help you implement and hit all of those along the way. So Gatsby Benchmark One is a stable careers program, having an overview on your website, having your policy up to date, having your Baker clause, which is around access to people coming in to talk about apprenticeships and further in higher education. And it's also about evaluating your program and having a vision for it. Again, your enterprise coordinator and enterprise advisor can help you with that if you're feeling a bit stuck or a bit overwhelmed by that. Gatsby Benchmark 2 is around labour market. You can use your enterprise advisor to help talk about local labour market and skills gaps. And then on the Hertfordshire Opportunities portal website, HOP, we've got some great resources which we'll show you a bit later. Gatsby Benchmark 3 is about addressing the needs of each pupil. So that's a lot about having every pupil well informed about all the different options: further education, higher education, apprenticeships, university. And it's about raising their aspirations and challenging gender stereotypes. Gatsby Benchmark 4, sometimes seen as the hardest benchmark to hit, is linking curriculum learning to careers. So that can be done in PSHE time, tutor time, theme weeks like National Apprenticeships Week, National Careers Week, but also individually in actual lessons. So for example, in maths, how does that link to a careers in construction, etc., etc. When it comes to using your enterprise advisor, Gatsby Benchmark 5 and Gatsby Benchmark 6 is a real good place to help them, because it's all about encounters with employers and employees, and work experience. So that could be talking about things like careers fairs, mock assessment centres, mock interviews, careers visits to workplaces, and that work shadowing and work experience as well. Gatsby Benchmark 7 is about encounters with further and higher education and making sure that students are well informed about college, university and apprenticeships. And that all-important Gatsby Benchmark 8, personal guidance, is about that one-to-one time with a qualified careers advisor, talk about next steps either for year 9 GCSE options or as they transition out of year 11 and year 13 into their next best step. I'm going to show you a short video now that you might recognise someone in it when I looked quite a lot younger before COVID hit. And this will just give you a bit more of an insight into those benchmarks.
Hi, I'm Steve.
Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to video 2 about the Gatsby Benchmarks.
In 2014, Lord Sainsbury's Gatsby Charitable Foundation published a report by Professor Sir John Holman, Advisor in Education at the Gatsby Foundation. This was titled Good Career Guidance.
The report identified 8 benchmarks that are the core dimensions of good careers and enterprise provision in schools.
Gatsby Benchmark One, a stable careers programme. Gatsby Benchmark 2, learning from career and labour market information.
3. Addressing the needs of each pupil. 4. Linking curriculum learning to careers. 5. Encounters with employers and employees. 6. Experiences of workplaces.
Gatsby Benchmark 7, encounters with further and higher education. And Gatsby Benchmark 8, personal guidance. Good career guidance and further resources can be downloaded from the Gatsby website. Please click below.
Here in the UK, the Careers and Enterprise Company are the main driver for this work. They aim to inspire and prepare young people for the fast-changing world of work. They have a national network that connects schools, colleges, employers and careers programme providers to create strategic, high-impact careers opportunities for young people.
To help schools meet the Gatsby benchmarks, the Careers and Enterprise Company have developed the Compass online evaluation tool to evaluate their school or college's careers activities in around 30 minutes. This is mapped to the Gatsby benchmarks and identifies strengths and areas for improvement.
Once complete, the schools or colleges can then use the online tracker to build, manage and develop their plan to help improve their provision and benchmark scores.
Good luck with meeting the Gatsby benchmarks, and please click below to find other videos and further information to help you. Thank you.
So yeah, hopefully you found that interesting. I'm sure I recognise that guy from somewhere, and that's something that you can sort of refer back to increase your knowledge around the Gatsby benchmarks as and where you see fit. There's also a link to the video there in the presentation. So when it comes to that Compass or Compass Plus report, as a new careers leader, it's worth logging into the Careers Enterprise website, setting up a Compass account for yourself. If there's been a previous person in role, it's definitely worth doing this as quickly as possible through the handover, because what you'll quite likely have to do as a careers leader is sign up to Compass or Compass Plus, but then get the head to give permission for you to be an administrator. So it's worth getting in with the head and the head's personal assistant to make sure that that happens quickly, because the Compass report is how you access how you're doing towards the Gatsby benchmarks. All important to report back to senior leadership team, Ofsted, etc., etc. So it's really key for you to get that set up as quickly as possible. Have a chat with your enterprise coordinator if you've got any concerns around that. We'll meet with you once a term, either face-to-face or online, to do the Compass report. In an ideal world, it's great to have the enterprise advisor, the enterprise coordinator, and the careers leader doing that together. And then it produces the Compass report to see how well you're doing between 0 and 100% on each benchmark. To give you a bit of an idea of how you're doing as you complete that, either compared to locally or nationally, and to give you a bit of an insight as to how this works in England, but also here in Hertfordshire, we've got 4,400 schools working on Gatsby benchmarks in England, with 4,000 enterprise advisors supporting them. That breaks down to 110 schools here in Hertfordshire, with 122 enterprise advisors supporting those schools. Nationally, the average is 3.5 out of 8 benchmarks being hit for those outside of a careers hub. Those in a careers hub, the average is 4.40 out of 8. And here in Hertfordshire, you can see we're above the curve with just over 5 out of 8 benchmarks being hit. So it's interesting to see how your school's doing compared to nationally and the rest of Hertfordshire. There's plenty of schools that are on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 benchmarks, but there's also a lot on 6, 7, 8. And it's all about sharing best practice when we meet up at events and workshops. So your enterprise advisor and enterprise coordinator will help you with careers and getting it on the map in your school by making it as relevant as possible. And they'll help you with that Compass audit once you've set up your Compass account, and do that each term to see where you are with each of the 8 Gatsby benchmarks. Either using Compass Plus or a software tool like Unifrog, which there is a cost for, that will help you track and record how each student is doing in your school when it comes to careers. Really key to engage senior leadership team and the governors in what you're doing, particularly the link governor, and measure impact as you're doing events. Evaluate them, reflect on them, measure the impact of them to give them purpose. Your enterprise coordinator can help signpost you to resources and also help you with CPD like today's induction, but also workshops around the Gatsby benchmarks. Main thing is about securing time. We know that schools are so busy, but also you as a careers leader may have multiple roles in your school. So a lot of it is around securing time for careers and blending it through things like careers in the curriculum. And your enterprise advisor is there with that employer engagement to help this work as seamlessly as possible. So before COVID-19, like many, everything we did used to be face-to-face, all of our events, all of our meetings and support. That all then obviously flipped to being completely online, and now, like everyone, has moved to a hybrid model. So typically you'll meet with your enterprise coordinator and enterprise advisor, if you've got one, around once every 8 to 10 weeks for about an hour. That could take place in school. If you're willing to, you could go and do some of those meetings at your enterprise advisor's employee premises to get to know about them a bit more. And then every so often you could do some online as well. In those meetings, you'll have key themes. You'll look at the Gatsby benchmarks, you'll look at the careers program in the school, where the careers enterprise advisor and EC can help you add value. And then there's also questions that might come up from time to time. So have you got a linked careers governor? Maybe invite them to a future meeting. Can you get access either through Services for Young People or your own senior leadership team to your school's destinations information? That's quite interesting to show you what percentage of learners go into the sixth form, what go into apprenticeships, further education, higher education, etc. That can help inform your programme. And then what your priorities and vision for your careers programme at your school and the purpose for it all. And again, if you're really new to role, your enterprise coordinator can help you with all of that. Don't feel daunted by it. When you either have an enterprise advisor or the current enterprise advisor you've got, it's good to get to know them a little bit. Are they from a big employer, small employer, self-employed? What sector are they from? And what type of enterprise advisor are they? Are they someone who's a local business champion that could introduce you to lots of local other organisations? Are they an employer-specific ambassador or sector-specific ambassador that can tell you a little bit more about their own sector through talks and other like visits and things like that? Do they work in HR, or are they quite senior, so they might be involved in recruitment? and help about future talent pathways, sector skills, etc. They might be good with strategy and helping you with your careers program. Could be an entrepreneur and help run entrepreneur competitions in your school. They might be someone that used to go to your school or local, and they might know some local alumni that could come back and give quite powerful talks to your students. And depending on their capacity, they may be able to offer some operational support from time to time, things like careers talks, mock interviews, mock assessment centres. So find out a bit more about your EA and then think about how you could best use them. We're really fortunate here in Hertfordshire to have some great resources, with Hertfordshire Opportunities portal really being nationally leading and specific to Hertfordshire. It's opportunity to research jobs, apply to jobs through here, look at apprenticeships courses. Some of the big employers have spotlights to their careers pages on here, as well as our manager Gareth Dace running virtual employer encounters each Thursday. There's 50 of these online, but they go out live every Thursday, or you can record. They're recorded and students can watch them afterwards. And what these tend to be will quite often be someone who's in recruitment within the company or organisation, bringing in a graduate, an apprentice or someone relatable to young people to talk about their organisation, to talk about their sector and routes in. And then it's got a live Q&A where students can ask questions, or again, they can watch it recorded back. So if a student particularly maybe might be thinking about, say, a university application, they could watch the ones on careers in medicine and how to do an application to a career in medicine as an example. We've also got some great sort of 5 to 7 minute videos around the growth sectors in Hertfordshire, recorded by young people from Elstree Screen Arts Academy for young people in Hertfordshire. They showcase people that have gone to school in Herts or gone to uni and now thriving in the growth sectors. This is a great way to inspire and open the eyes of young people in your school or college to sectors that are growing and have a large number of vacancies, and it marries up well, particularly those that maybe aren't sure what they want to do, open their eyes to the areas and the sectors where there'll be lots of vacancies. These can be used in tutor time, but also in things like National Apprenticeships Week, National Careers Week. We've also, to help get careers in the curriculum, got 6 free lesson plans on HOP in the Careers Leader section. And we've got a brand new section around the Gatsby Benchmarks with resources for Hertfordshire schools about each of the benchmarks as well. But when it comes to these Hertfordshire Opportunity lesson plans, you can use things around labour market, growth sectors, work experience, and also skills as well. So great lessons to download there, free activity sheets, PowerPoint presentations, and the lesson plans themselves. We've also got some great posters on HOP around things like the local labour market, growth sectors, infographics, and each of the districts in Hertfordshire around qualification levels, earnings, the biggest employers, etc., etc. We've got some great resources on Hertfordshire Skills Framework, which was a piece of work done a few years ago between Services for Young People, us, the Local Enterprise Partnership, 200 employers and the University of Hertfordshire, and it pulled out what skills employers are looking for. We've got resources on here so students can audit how well they're doing around skills, what their best skills are, the areas to develop. And these can be used before things like going out on work experience to see where they are, and then hopefully see some progress and the skills develop as they go out on things like work experience. And there's been some great use of these resources as well, these skills frameworks being used in school reports and things and in the SIG form for students to reflect on, they get their attitude for learning and their qualification and attainment levels, but then which skills are their best, which are their skills they need to develop. So great resources on HOP, really recommend spending some time on there. We're also really well supported by the Careers and Enterprise Company head office, and they've produced a resource directory, a little bit like the Times Education Supplement for teachers' lesson plans, but this is all resources around careers in England. So if you're a careers leader and you're thinking of developing something or creating something, more than likely this will already exist on the resource directory, and there'll be a template that you can adapt and use for your own school or college without having to start from scratch. So the resource directory is definitely worth a bit of time looking at. It's got examples of how to write a careers program, careers policies, examples of how to run mock assessment centres, mock interview days, all kinds of different things to have a look on there. So do spend some time on that. Hopefully today is giving you a bit of a whistle-stop tour as to what life of a careers leader is like. Your enterprise coordinator and enterprise advisor are there to collaborate and help you on the journey. But there's a little bit of extra reading here if at all useful. We've got links to the Skills for Jobs white paper and the updated statutory guidance, which helps you understand what your school or college should and must be doing careers-wise. With some 2 or 3 page short handouts around that executive summaries so that it's easy to follow. We've also got links to some Gatsby frequently asked questions, and we've got links to this short online Careers Leader course, which is 5 2-hour modules, or you can sign up to the full level 6 Careers Leadership course. It takes 1 academic year. There's lots of different providers, around 12 to 14 providers that offer that course, and that will then give you a qualification in careers and leadership. So it will help you, particularly if you're interested in maybe moving up to become an assistant head, or get a real understanding for the careers within England. Great opportunity to do that. The course is worth £2,000 to £3,000. You get it for free, and on completion, your school gets a £1,000 bursary to spend on their careers programme. Here's an example of the short handout around the statutory careers guidance. So have a look at that with the link here, or copy and paste the link into your browser. And then we've also got some great resources on the resource directory for careers in the curriculum. So every curriculum subject has now got lesson plans, PowerPoint slides, worksheets, very worthwhile sharing these with your departments, maybe putting together a bit of an audit as to what your school's already doing, and then build up with resources here, or get your enterprise advisor involved in some delivery as well in lesson time. Totally take on board that you're brand new to role, so there's some extra information, extra depth on the Gatsby benchmarks, either on the resource directory. There's frequently asked questions. If you just hover on this part, and it will take you straight to it, and more videos around similar to the short one that I showed you earlier. The Gatsby benchmarks have been around for 6 or 7 years now, and they tell us how to organise careers delivery. And they've gone from that scattergun approach to now there've been some real quality happening, particularly in Hertfordshire and England, around careers provision. But what the CDI framework has done is put the meat on that bones to tell us the learning outcomes for careers. So if you go to that website on there, or copy and paste that into your browser, it will give you these 6 holistic pillars that any student, particularly those from year 10 upwards, could take on board, but any of us adults as well could learn a lot from these 6 careers pillars. So growing throughout life, reflecting and learning from your skills, what are your strengths, areas for development, exploring possibilities and managing your career and being resilient, learning from setbacks, making sure that you're creating opportunities, so you're networking with employers, making the most of careers fairs, work experience, etc. Work-life balance, and seeing the bigger picture. So the CDI framework is a great tool to implement into your careers programme, particularly in the sixth form. And Services for Young People are currently offering a free audit and advice on how to implement that. Most schools have some kind of careers programme, like software that they run alongside what they're doing. So they've got, we've got something called Compass Plus, which is a free tool, which helps you track what your students are doing. And it will also work alongside something like Hertfordshire Opportunities portal, where you can do the careers research. Or you've got organisations out there such as Unifrog, who will be paid software packages that will track your students, help them write their personal statements, help them apply to university, apply to degree apprenticeships and apprenticeships. And there's a link to your local one there, Charlie Fowler, if you're interested to find out more about Unifrog. Also, you're sort of setting out on this. Some of you will have some great contacts, others will be new to this with not having quite so many people in their contact book. So Inspiring the Future is a great resource to sign up to for free. It's got thousands of volunteers that will get involved virtually or face-to-face. So if you're thinking of running any events or talks or programs, Inspiring the Future is a great way to pull those visitors in and those volunteers in. An alternative to Unifrog is Start Profile, which offers something slightly different, but at a slightly different price. And you've also got Zello from Cascade. So links to those if you hover over and click on them, if you want to find out any more about those. That's been a whistle-top tour of everything to do with being a careers leader. Really, really happy to have you guys on board in your new role. Please reach out to us and your enterprise coordinator, enterprise advisor to help you. Now we're going to do a quick quiz just to check your knowledge from today's session. So what does EC stand for? What does EC stand for? So the answer is Enterprise Coordinator. Can you remember what Gatsby Benchmark 4 is? And there's a clue that that's typically seen as the hardest benchmark to implement. The answer is careers in the curriculum. So it's bringing careers into PSHE, into individual lessons, using and celebrating things like National Apprenticeships Week, National Careers Week, considering a careers drop-down day, etc., etc. How many benchmarks in Hertfordshire are we currently hitting out of 8? And the answer is just over 5, 5.08 out of 8 benchmarks we're currently hitting in Hertfordshire. So there's a way to go to get up to 8. Being a new careers leader, you may be inheriting a program that's got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So get loads of help from your EC and your EA, or you might be lucky to inherit one that's got 6, 7, 8, and it's about maintaining and pushing that along. Can you name a role of the enterprise advisor that will be supporting you? So they're there to champion careers, help build that relationship with the senior leadership team, connect you to their business networks, give strategic input, be that business expert, help you evaluate the Gatsby benchmarks. And as that relationship builds, that critical friend to ask the slightly difficult questions around your program, but also help you develop your program to the best it can be, with a vision and a great set of things happening in each year group. And depending on their capacity, they may be able to help from time to time with a little bit of delivery, but it's not the main part of their role. Can you remember how long it takes to do the Compass audit to see how you're doing against the Gatsby benchmarks? The answer is 20 to 30 minutes, and in an ideal world, you'll do that every term with your EA, your enterprise coordinator, and yourself working together to do that face-to-face or over Teams. And can you remember a skill from the Hertfordshire Skills Framework? So here they are, all the different skills, really important to help bring students on to leave school with a lot of these in their locker, ready to help them move into the world of work. So welcome you on board. We'd need you to fill in a Memorandum of Understanding, just to say that you're going to be working with us over the next academic year. Your enterprise coordinator, Gareth or myself, can supply you with that. And then if you email it back to Gareth, me and your enterprise coordinator, that would be great. Think about the short careers leader training to help you bring up to speed for some CPD, or think about going into the main careers leader training and the training catalogue links there, so you can find out about the different providers and the differences they do from face-to-face to online. That course then takes an academic year and will give you £1,000 bursary on completion for your careers programme. And there's loads of little short videos and links to help you decide if you want to go on that and which one to go with. So leave you with some hints and tips. Look through your school's latest Compass report. Make sure you're logged into Compass yourself. Have a look at which Gatsby benchmarks you're hitting, which ones you need to work towards. Do a bit of a website audit, have a look on your school careers webpage. Are you happy with the content? Jump on an example that your enterprise coordinator can give you as a best practice one, or have a look at this Presdale's one on screen, and check that your school policy and programme is up to date with you named as the careers leader. And again, your enterprise coordinator can help you with any of that if you're a bit worried. Along the way, if you want to get a bit more involved, we run some Hertfordshire careers leader groups, so you can get involved in those. This academic year, we've got one coming up in April and one coming up in July, so reach out to myself or Gareth if you want to become part of those. Other than that, we do some great sharing of best practice. So we do some Gatsby benchmark workshops, and we generally run those in October, November, March and June, where we work through each of the different Gatsby benchmarks and give you hints, tips and share best practice on those with guest speakers as well. And we like to get together face-to-face for some networking, where we bring all the EAs and careers leaders together We tend to do that a few times a year for about an hour and a half, just as the school day's finishing, usually in October, March and June, and we move those around the county, so there'll be one near to where you work or live. So thank you very much for your time. We wish you all the best in your role, and please do reach out to us if you need any more help. And we're always there at the end of a phone call or an email, wherever you need the help. So good luck in your role as a careers leader. Click on the PowerPoint slides for this and the video if you need to refer back to it as a bit of an ongoing bit of CPD. But all the best and nice to meet you. Thank you.